Hello, everyone. Let's see, we're just getting started. I am Miriam Bale, and I'm the artistic director of the Indie Memphis Film Festival. And we are doing a Q&A today with Julia Fox from UNCUT Gems. We're absolutely thrilled. Hi, Julia, you look great.
Hi, thank you.
I also want to let everyone know we have very exciting news for these movie night Q&As. We're doing every Tuesday night, and next week we have a very special guest, Susan Seidelman, the director of Desperately Seeking Susan. And Susan and I will be talking about persona swap movies, including Ingrid Goes West and Celine and Julie Goes Boating. So please tune in. That one will be at 5 p.m. Eastern Time, 4 p.m. Central Time. Just to get started, just so you know how, when we get into the Q&A portion, you can either use the Q&A box that you'll see on your screen, or you can use the raise hand option. And if you use the raise hand option, we can call on you and hear you, or bring you in, bring in your video. So just let us know what you prefer. If you do that option, I'll ask you if we can see you and have a conversation. We'll get started. Yeah, we do this every week. And if you'd like to become a member or donate to Indie Memphis, we'll give you the information at the end. Also, if you're on YouTube, just put in a question in the comments and the question will get to us. So hello to people on YouTube. This is our featured film this week is our favorite film last year, UNCUT Gems, my favorite film last year, UNCUT Gems. And the breakout star is Julia Fox, who is an artist, a fashion designer, a writer, and a very talented actress. And Julia, welcome again. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. I'm very excited that now everyone that didn't get to see it before can see it on Netflix. So this is really fun.
Yeah, and people who have seen it can see it again. It's a film that really holds up.
Exactly.
It's such a classic, and your role is such as like a star of the film. You're so natural. Everyone I've talked to, when they see you, they assume that you've been in a million films, and yet this is your first real film. Can you talk a little bit, which it's just incredible. You seem like such a natural. Can you talk a little bit about how you came to be in this film?
I'd known the Safdies for a while, so I'd known they were going to make this movie and kind of just help them develop the character and I don't know, she was just kind of like our little baby together. And yeah, I guess that's kind of how it came about. I just kind of known them. So
that's great to hear about you working on developing the character together. I know that they work with, I wouldn't say non-actors, but first-time actors, and obviously big movie stars like Adam Sandler. But I think you as an actress, you were the one, they've been working on this for like 10 years, and whoops, we lost you for a second. There you are. And we were, and yet you were like the longest confirmed actor, like Adam Sandler, they couldn't get, other people came in and out. So you were working with them like throughout that process, right? Throughout that time.
Yeah.
So how did the character change? Can you talk a little bit about that?
The character didn't change that much. The script changed more. Like what the Uncut Gems that I first read in the beginning is nothing like the Uncut Gems that we all eventually saw. But Julia pretty much stayed the same from beginning to end. I think like maybe in the earlier drafts, she was more like duplicitous and maybe like not such a good person, where I think in the final version, the one on Netflix, I think she's more like, at first maybe you're like, what's her deal? Like, and then you're like, oh, she's like really genuine and like super thorough and loyal and like a good person. But I think that's like pretty much the only differences.
That's such a huge difference though, because that we see that trope of the, the mistress character who we're they set us up that you're going to be someone who's duplicitous and like using him, but it becomes so clear that you really love him and that you think
Mhm.
he's really sweet, and it shows, and who knows how that started, that relationship. Maybe it started as an imbalance thing, but at some point it becomes like a real, and watching it again now that it's on Netflix, it's so, by the end, the heartbreak, and I think it's safe enough to talk about, to give a not quite spoiler, that there's not a happy ending, and then, but the real ending is like, the real heartbreak is not just like, well, the spoiler that I won't reveal, but that things were going so well in his life suddenly, but especially with you and with your character. Like, it was such a love story, and like
Yeah,
that,
you know.
it's so
Well, at
sweet.
least that like, it ended on a high, like like everything was going well for once, and then, you know,
That's true. That's so Safties,
yeah.
and on a like
Yeah.
pure romantic high. Like, that's so
Yeah.
good. How did you know them? Just through like artists, people, just like going out?
Yeah, it's just like downtown New York. It's like a pretty small community. You kind of know everyone. It's hard not to know everyone. I would like
Yeah.
to not know anyone, but
And your character is named Julia De Fiore. She's obviously Italian American. Are you Italian too?
mhm. Yeah, that was I insisted on that. She had like a different like American like pretty basic last name, and I was like, no, like she's like so clearly Italian. Come on. So I insisted, and then Josh and I like went through like a million names, and then we finally agreed on that one. But I'm so happy that he like listened to me about that.
That's so great. That's what makes them such great filmmakers too. And
Yeah,
that's what makes
totally.
them yeah, and it makes them, what's made them become such better filmmakers. Like, this is their best film because they're just more mature and listening to people more, and that is so clear in it. Um, let's talk about, well, you have, I mean, tell me, so before you had your first breakout movie, you did a lot of other things. Like, you're reading your resume, it reminds me of like Sofia Coppola before she started directing movies, where she did so many other things, and those things kind of all went into her work. So um, uh, you've written quite a few books, and you're working on a new book now.
Yeah, the other books I did were more like they were more artistic. They were more like photo journals, like more like autobiographical, like photography and poetry and stuff like that. But now I'm really working more on actual like written, like a memoir or something like that. Like that's definitely what I always wanted to do. Um, and the opportunity presented itself, and I was just like, oh, finally, like this is really what I wanted to do. Like since I was like little. I feel like when you're little, you like know what you want to do, and then you get distracted by like all these other things. And then like if you're lucky, you'll go back to the initial thought. But so that's like what I would like to do now.
Is that what you always wanted to do, to specifically to write, or to like live an interesting life and then write about
No,
it?
right, right.
Right, really.
Yeah, yeah. I wanted to actually write like fiction, like totally, completely not even. Like, I just always had a really wild imagination, and I love the freedom and the power that comes with writing. It's like you can just create your own little universe and like make up your own characters and make them be exactly how you want them to be and do exactly what you want them to do. It's like it's really cool. Like I can definitely see why like writers like really like lose it and like go all in and get like lost in their own world because it's like it's so empowering.
Is that what you're working on now? Is that the main thing you're working on? I mean, I guess what else
Yeah,
can
but
you work
it's
on
not
for?
fiction. It's not fiction. But but eventually I would like to get to fiction.
Oh, okay, but you're working on your memoir now, and
Yeah.
That's so great. And then do you plan on are you I hope are you do we will we see more acting in the future?
Yeah, I think so. I definitely really enjoyed acting, and I felt like really proud of myself that I was able to like do this, and I actually really loved it, and I really love how in making a movie it's like such a collaborative effort, whereas like writing is so singular and like, you know, whatever, but making a movie is like you do it with the village, and it's like you all have this little baby together and send it off into the world, and I just like love what a collaborative experience it is. And yeah, I love acting, and I would definitely love to act more, as well as hopefully eventually, write my own scripts and make my own movies, because that's also something that's always that I've always wanted to do as well.
Wow, that would be amazing. Do you have are there are there kinds of characters that you'd like to play that you would feel like you'd need to write because you're not seeing them in films? Or are you not quite ready to talk about that?
Gosh, I haven't really given it that much thought. That's a really good question. Um, I guess like maybe more characters similar to Julia, in the sense that like maybe at first you're like, oh, like what's their deal, like, they could be like bad people, but then they just turn out to be just like, you know, like a damaged person, or you know what I mean? Like not necessarily like a villain, but like someone who's good, but like uses their bad to be good, or like something like that. If that
No,
makes
that makes sense. That totally. No, and Julia, is that your pet?
What?
Was that a pet? No.
No.
Oh, I
No, no,
thought
no.
you were talking about
My phone was dying, and I was like trying to figure out a charger for it.
oh,
Now we're good.
oh, no problem. What was I gonna say? Yeah, that is really reminds me of the details of Julia. Like, you get that sense of like you and Josh and Ronnie created like a backstory, like where she says, you know what you're getting with me, you knew what you were getting, but she's so genuine. And I think like when he first sees her, he's like, you're sweet, you look so sweet. And she truly is like a sweet, attractive person in a way that you just don't see in movies very often for women. And it was
Yeah.
crazy. It reminded me of like your character, especially in the club scene, and that wonderful scene where like after the fight and you're walking away and you're just like, shut up, bitch, or whatever it is to like that girl. It was so realistic. And like it reminded me of like when you're in a club and you see someone in the bathroom and you just like and you're like, I love your outfit, you just have these bonding moments that, like these like in a club, that are like genuine. And your character reminded me of that kind of club experience, and that kind of like, just and I just realized in like male dominated film, you just end up not seeing that in women. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
in
Absolutely.
in that scene too, in the club scene, since you have a history as a designer, do you want to talk about like your outfit in the club scene was really amazing. Did you have any input in your costumes?
Yeah, I did. We they wanted me to wear some like little like, oh no, can you see me?
I can't see what happened.
I don't know. Oh wait,
Let's try to
hold
put you
on.
back.
Okay,
Oh,
can you see me
you're
now?
back.
Okay, cool.
Totally.
Yeah, they wanted me to wear a skirt, like a little mini skirt or something in that scene, but I was like, no, like I'd like tried on these pants, and then I was really obsessed with the pants, and texting Josh like a million photos and texts and like why the pants were great. And then he finally agreed, and then we designed that top like without even like thinking or taking into consideration that we would be under a black light. so, but it just kind of worked out perfectly because then the white shirt and the black light like kind of illuminated, and then I just kind of looked like this like angelic figure, you know, and that wasn't even intentional, but it worked out. Um, and then I insisted on the shoes. Like I would never wear these shoes in real life. Like they were like platform crystallized like Louboutin like peep toe. I would never wear them in real life, but I was like, no, like Julia would wear them, you know, like this Julia would wear them. Like I don't know, I just had like a vision for her, you know. And then I was really lucky that I was able to work with Miyako Belize, who's also like a friend of mine. And so if I wanted something, like she was always on my side and would help me like get the point across and make it happen for me.
That's amazing. And those pants were amazing. I heard so many comments specifically about how great the pants were.
I know.
So
They like it was incredible. I love those pants. I want those pants so badly. But
you didn't get to keep them?
No. No. Some of the clothes are like up for auction or something. I think those are gonna be stored in like a movie museum one day or something. I don't know.
As it should be. That totally makes sense. And then another also there was a question among Bridget, who you just met, who wanted to know about the amazing lingerie in that scene when Howard comes back. Was that something? Can you say anything about that lingerie? Did you have input on that as well?
I didn't, well, yeah, like, of course, Miyako would ask me, like, are you okay with this? Are you okay with that? And, you know, it's lingerie. So, and I, for some reason, like, wanted to go with, like, a red set. And then Miyako, like, insisted on this stark green set. And I was like, okay, whatever, you, like, sure. And it was really beautiful.
This is totally beautiful. It worked with the night scene. And
Yeah.
I also got heard a lot of compliments that that scene was amazing for being really accurate for what it's like to like sext an older guy, like a
Yeah.
guy, like a boomer.
That's funny.
It is. It's totally accurate. I also wanted to ask you, well, I want to talk to you. You were talking about, you know, making it as a group collaboration, and I wanted to talk to you about some of the people you worked with, the incredible range of people. When we first see you, you're with Paloma Ilcester, is that her name?
Mm-hmm.
Paloma. And she's obviously in it for a very short time, but that's just such a great opening image, the two of you, the friendship in bed. Do you want to talk about her at all?
Yeah, Paloma and we've been friends for such a long time. Probably when we were still like teenagers. And like just I don't know, it's just so I was like looking at old photos of us from back in those days, and I was like so insane that we like were in a movie together. Like it's wild. I mean, a part of me is like obviously duh, like I believe it, but the other part is just like imagine if someone had told us that, like, you know, however 10 years ago, like, oh, you guys will be in this movie together, you know, it'll be in theaters and the weekend's gonna be in it. Like I just feel like, yeah, right. Like we were like kind of just like strung out, like not really all there. So it's definitely really cool to see that our friendship immortalized on the screen like that. It's really cool.
Oh, that's amazing. And she's like a model, right? But she hasn't made a lot of other films.
No, I don't think so. Yeah, no, she hasn't. But yeah, she models.
Yeah, she is great on screen too. I hope to see her in more things. And then you just mentioned The Weeknd. Do you want to talk about he's not only The Weeknd is not only a musician, but he's a Safdie super fan. He loves their movies so much. How was performing with him in that scene?
He's awesome. He was so chill, and so humble, and like just like a true cinephile, like loves movies. Like he was like on set, like learning, like paying attention, watching. Like he you could tell that he like really loved it. And yeah, and it was both our first time. Well, I mean, he's done music videos before, but you know, still, it was his first movie, so we were kind of like bonding over that. And yeah, he's a really awesome guy.
And another great, I think, first time performer is Wayne Diamond, was like blown everyone away with his amazing performance and his character since then. Um, how was working with Wayne?
Um, I mean, as you can imagine, a lot, a lot. But yeah, he's hilarious. He's just such a character, and that's what was really cool about Uncut Gems, is that even when the cameras weren't rolling, it was still like a movie. You know, like there's just all these characters all confined in one space. You know, and then some days there would be like arguments, and one guy wanted to beat up another guy, and one guy's drunk, and one guy's missing, and like, you know, it was always something on the set. So it was like really entertaining. I would just kind of try to avoid them because it was always like a whole situation. Not Wayne though. Wayne was great. Um, yeah, he's just really funny. He's just a really funny character.
Watching you react to him is just precious. Like it's
That's like
just
how I react to him in real life. Like I'm literally just like, oh my god.
but he's so funny too. And then obviously the biggie, working with like huge superstar Adam Sandler. Was it intimidating working with such a a famous movie stars when it was your first time, or did he do things to sort of put you at ease?
Yeah, he definitely did. He let me like do my thing. Like, you know what I mean? Like he would kind of let me like take the lead and like take the scene where I wanted it to go, or you know, but then he also had the like wisdom and knowledge to like steer it back to like where it needed to go, or like it was very it seemed at least very effortless for him. Like he didn't do a bad take in my opinion. He just always brought something, every each take brought something new and different. His mind works so fast, like he's just always on, and he's like such a great performer, um and just like really good energy, just a good guy, like all around, like a really really good guy.
That totally makes sense. That's great. And then I wanted, so you also spent a lot of time with these diamond guys. I hope those weren't the guys fighting, but who knows? Were they, did you learn about jewelry? Were you already into jewelry, or did you like, you're playing someone who works there? And so did you get an education in diamond?
No, nothing that I didn't already know. Like I kind of know my jewelry already just from like owning jewelry and like wanting it all the time. Um, but no, not really, not so much.
That,
No.
that, but you were already into it, so that makes
Yeah,
sense.
totally.
That's good. And
Yeah.
then I wanted to ask, uh, I also wanted to ask about how your time has been now that we're all in quarantine. I started following you on Instagram, and I loved your cooking video that you did with making tiramisu. That was
Yeah,
so great.
that's like the first and only time you'll ever see anything like that. I was like for like the World Health Organization thing, to like do some,
Oh,
that was like do a post of like something you do at home. I was like, okay, sure, I guess. Um, and I just also like happened to be like making the cream because I wanted to eat it. So I'll never do that again. Don't worry. But it's been pretty good. Like I've just been like kind of watching lot of movies, like 3 a night sometimes. And a lot of thrillers. Um, from like the 90s, like early 2000s. There's just so many movies. It's like you think you watch them all, and then like a whole new portal opens, and it's insane. And just eating a lot. Like probably gained like 10 pounds or more. Actually, it's so bad.
it's like the right thing to do. Stay home and eat well, I
Yeah,
think.
I don't care at all.
I think it's
I'm very happy. I'm almost concerned. I'm like, oh my God, like what if this quarantine just like ends one day? Like what am I gonna do? How am I gonna transition back? Like
I
rewind my brain. I'm like, I feel like I've been living this life forever.
I feel you. I feel the exact same way. I've gotten so used to this. The idea of transitioning is like a
Mhm.
little terrifying.
Yeah.
I kind of
They
like
need to
things
give us
about now.
like a heads up, like a 2 weeks heads up to like get back in it.
For sure. And I understand. And I also have been enjoying cooking and eating
Yeah,
and that
same
remind
actually. It's really nice actually. I hope to keep it up. I hope to continue to do that.
that reminds me of something that you're obviously a totally classic beauty and we get to see it
Thank
in the
you.
film. No, you are for sure. And okay, and like you talking about cooking and food reminds me, what role do you think nourishment plays in beauty? I don't feel like it's discussed enough, like about, like I feel like we know about diet culture, but I feel like just as important as is to like, have a healthy glow is to like
Totally.
nourishment.
I mean, I think I look the prettiest when I'm like full, like well rounded. Like, I just feel like my face is like nice and like puffy, but like in the right ways and like yeah, just like a healthy glow. And I do find that like I look at like maybe like thicker girls and I always think that they're prettier. Like something in their face looks like nicer. But I mean it varies person to person, but I definitely think like I think having some meat on your bones is way healthier and prettier and more sustainable.
And it's good for your skin, I think, too, if you're like eating well and getting enough
Yeah.
fats in your diet and all of that kind of stuff. Like I think it gives you that a sort of yeah, a sort of happiness too is important.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that we are gonna open it up to questions. So if you have a question, feel free to raise your hand. Um, Michael Norris has a question, and he says, "What was your favorite scene to shoot in the film?"
I think the club scene was probably my favorite because all my friends were there because they were like extras in the club. So I got to spend the day with my friends. And then I also just, that scene in particular, like hit really close to home for me. And it felt like very real, even as I was living it. So yeah, that scene.
That's great. And it was great hearing about the costume too. Matt Pico has a question and he wants to know, as you were shifting the character of Julia towards a kinder, more loving version, was there any intention to that in terms of positive representation for sugar babes, women who date older men? Okay.
I mean, I don't think that it was like a conscious intention, but then after the fact, I was like, or maybe even as it was happening, I was like, no, it is very important that like girls like this aren't demonized. Like they're just trying to survive. It doesn't make them bad people. Like, you know what I mean? Um, and at the end of the day, like they're providing a service and it's an exchange. They're not like thieves or you know what I mean? Like they're not like both parties know what it is going into it. But I think that with Julia and Howard, um, I think there was like genuine love there. I don't think that I think she went into the relationship maybe being like, oh great, like he's the target, like he's someone that'll take care of me and help me. And then I think she like developed genuine feelings for him.
That totally makes sense. And that also makes sense because that happens in relationships where like, the love you get, you become, it's not just about what you're getting. It's like you love being loved, you love making someone really happy and you can make him like happier. Like it just makes total sense for the relationship and because he's Adam Sandler. So there's something like
Yeah.
genuinely charismatic about him,
Yeah.
you believe he could charm the pants off of anyone because he's charismatic. Okay, I'm gonna call on someone and let's try this. Oh, oh no, Matt. Sorry, Matt, you just already asked your question and now I put it down. Sorry about that, Matt. Does anyone else have a question? Feel free to raise your hand. Here's a question from Kenji, who you kind of already answered this, but I'll ask it because he asked something more specific. He says, what effect has COVID-19 and the quarantine had on your creativity? Are you making the best of it? And do you prefer performances over the solitude that usually comes with writing process?
In the beginning, I was more proactive and more like, great, now I have all this time to write. And, it just felt like perfect, I'll like take this and make the best of it. And then like a month and a half in, I just completely did not do that at all. Like I just started eating and like watching movies and I would still go out at night and like go running or biking or whatever, but even that's gotten less. So yeah, I wish I could say I was being the most productive that I could be, but I'm not. And what was the second part about performance?
Because do you prefer performance over the solitude of writing?
No, I prefer the solitude of writing for sure.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, there's another question. And again, everyone, please feel free to raise your hand and join our conversation. But here's a question from Andres Herrera, who says, as a noted multi-hyphenate, are there any skills you're trying to learn in quarantine? So you're trying to learn anything, a new talent?
I'm not like actively trying to learn it, but these are some things I would like to learn is video editing tools. I knew them like in high school. I knew how to use Final Cut Pro, but I can't remember now, or maybe like Photoshop or like stuff like that. Just like programs and tools are like things that I would like to learn.
That makes sense. I don't know if you can hear it. There is an ice cream machine in my background. An ice cream truck. So I'm going to call on Matt, and who asked a question before, but I will let you answer. Hi, Matt. How are you? You can turn on.
Can you hear me?
Hi. I can. Do you want me to? I'm going to turn on. Do you want to turn on your camera?
Yeah, sure. That's fine.
Okay, it'll ask you now. Oops. Oh no, did I get rid of you? Are you there? Oh no, there you are. Hi.
Hi. Hello.
Hi.
So, this is weird. Hi. I'm actually a really big fan, but I love your performance so much. And I was just curious, if there were any performances that you were inspired by, when you were acting in the film, any people in your own life or any people in New York. It's just like, I don't know how to put it, but it comes across as so authentic, and she's so like lived in as a character. And what's one of the things I love about the movie, I guess, is that everyone in Howie's world feels so kind of real, and like they have their own worlds going on at the same time, which adds to like the franticness. So I guess I was just curious how you built that up, besides your experience in New York.
Yeah, that kind of was all me. I didn't really channel anyone else. But I did have like a very strong idea of the person that she was. So, and I'd been with her since the beginning. So I like knew her inside and out. And I think that's why it comes off so genuine, is because I really felt comfortable being her.
Wow. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Of course.
Thanks, Matt. Okay, I'm gonna.
Is there any way I remove myself?
Yeah, no, don't worry. I'll put you back to bye. Okay, let's see. Is there another question? I'll ask you a question. You've been watching a lot of movies. What have been some of your favorite discoveries?
Okay, so you know when you watch like 1,000 movies, they all blend into one and then you can't even remember the name of one. I watched Devil's Advocate, which was really good. I watched In Dreams, which with Robert Downey Jr. and that the other amazing woman that now I can't remember her name, but she was also in Running with Scissors. And then I watched I don't know, there's so many. Ask me again later and more will pop into my head.
I don't know what to say when.
But then I like have also like kind of gone down like a early 2000s Matthew McConaughey rom-com situation as well. So I'll do like a lot of thrillers, and then I'll be like, take me back to the early 2000s Matthew McConaughey rom-coms. I need a break. Like, you know, like 10 Things I Hate About You. I mean, How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, or like Failure to Launch. You know, like all those like movies he did.
Yeah, that I feel like that's the last great era of rom-coms. Like they've kind of gone downhill since then.
Yeah.
So Rochelle Streetman is on YouTube, and she wants to know what directors or actors are on your wish list to work with.
In terms of like, well, I guess I would. I mean, there's so many like young, new, amazing up and coming actors, but who I would love to work with. But I guess I'm more drawn to like the classics. You know, the ones I grew up watching that I would be like, holy fuck, like I made it. You know, I'm in a movie with like Jim Carrey, like because I love Jim Carrey. I love Woody Harrelson. I love Penelope Cruz. I love Juliette Lewis. I love Sam Rockwell. I love Barrymore. I don't know, so many, but like the from movies that I grew up watching from like the 90s, my era that I was born in.
Would you like to do like a rom-com, like a traditional Drew Barrymore, Matthew McConaughey rom-com?
Yeah, I could do that. I don't care. Yeah, like it's good. I don't care.
No, you'd be so good. Everyone loves those. They can be really great films.
Exactly.
Let's see. Nicole wants to know if you have a favorite song from the Uncut Gems score.
I like the Gigi D'Agostino song that plays at the credits. I'll Fly With You.
Nice.
Yeah. But the whole score is amazing. I just like don't know what the songs are called. Yeah, but I like Gigi. I like the song The Weeknd is singing in the club. I think it's called The Hills or something. I don't know. I forgot now. But yeah.
Okay, there's a question. William Irvine. He has an interesting question. He wants to know if the scenes that felt really frantic in the final cut. He wants to know if the energy on set was frantic or if that energy came more in the editing and post-production.
Well, I can only speak for the scenes that I was in because I wasn't on set on the day of the set. Like you get what I'm saying. But I think a lot of it came in editing. Because at least for me on set, it always felt like a very like positive, like nurturing environment, you know, with the music and the score and their editing style. They made it seem much more frantic than it really was.
That's really fascinating. Let's see. There's a question on Zoom, and only Matt wants to come ask us questions, but that's okay. So Molly Wexler wants to know if you can talk about the spread in Paper Magazine with Pete Davidson. She says it was super disturbing and cool. Did you have anything to do with it creatively? Actually, I didn't see this one. Do you want to talk about it?
Sure. No, I didn't have anything to do with it creatively. I think it was It was really just about Pete. I wasn't even I don't even think the movie had even come out yet. And they just needed they needed a Barbie to Pete's Ken, and the director and the creative director and the photographer wanted me to be her. That's pretty much it.
Okay, that it makes me wonder. There's a question, and I'm going to ask a two-part question. One, the person's question, and then mine, because I want to know. Let's see, Julia Burke wants to know what it's like to be a sex symbol all of a sudden since the movie's release. And then I'd like to ask, like, who are the sex symbols from like the past that you kind of feel like that you kind of jive with, that you like admire and think are cool?
I love Anna Nicole Smith.
She's amazing.
She's incredible. She's my favorite. She's my number one. I love Pamela Anderson. Like I love the whole like blonde, like big boob, like woman. Like I like it a lot. Obviously it's not like me, but I still like it. Now it's more like brunette and big butt, like Kardashian, which is more like where I fit into. But I like him too. I like all the ladies. But in terms of how I feel being a sex symbol, honestly, I've always gotten attention for the way I look, even if it was like on a smaller scale. I've looked super used to it, and it doesn't make a difference to me.
That totally makes sense. And to be able to like, I guess it's just about how much like authorship you have about it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like whether it's small or big.
Yeah, I don't even notice. Like people will be like, "Oh, did you not see like so and so like yelling at you or something like on the street?" And I'm literally like, don't even notice it anymore. So
that makes sense though if you're just used to like, let's see, John Dawson on YouTube he says that he's recently saw that you're going to be in a film with Buddy Duress, who was in previous Safdie's films, who was in Good Time and was in Heaven Can Wait. And he wants to know what it was like to work with another like Safdie's actor, another actor who got it, you know, who first started acting with the Safdies, not on a Safdie's project. Or was that?
Well, I'd known Buddy before, but I'd never worked with him before. And he's really like truly an incredible actor. Like he could come to set like not having even read the script before and just nail it. And I just was really blown away by his really like raw, authentic talent. And I hope to see more of him.
I think we all do. It's totally not surprising to hear that he's natural. He's so freaking good. He's amazing in his roles. And I can't wait to see you two together. Do you want to say anything about that project? Okay. No problem. And I think we're reaching the end of, yeah, I think we hit most of the questions. If we didn't get to your question, I'm sorry. Again, we'll be here again next week for Susan Seidelman and talking about Desperately Seeking Susan and Celine and Julie Goes Boating and a lot of other favorite films. And Julia, thank you so much. It was so nice to talk to you.
Of course. Thank you so much for inviting me to do this.
It was really fun. And everyone, please watch Netflix again on Netflix. And bye, Julia. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Bye.